Naturally, the goal is to take the experience traders have on centralized exchanges with perps and get it on chain, more free, more open, and ideally stacked with more incentives rewarding the communities and all that. Welcome back, everybody, to Hxro Labs. Today we're going to look at PepperDEX, a new project that is being launched on Solana through the Hxro Network. One of the first iterations of an OpenHxro fork. Now, this is something that we knew was coming as part of the Hxro Network. OpenHxro has launched, gone through its beta, and the code is available. And the first mention I heard of this was RandomTask, who responded to basically a call to action from the community to say, like, hey, who can clean this up? Who wants to take this code, fork it, make it look even nicer? And they put out something recently showing how they reorganized the page to make it a little cleaner. Naturally, the goal is to take the experience traders have on centralized exchanges with perps and get it on chain, more free, more open, and ideally stacked with more incentives rewarding the communities and all that. So RandomTask was one of the first that we got this nice look at what a new UI could look like. This is the OpenHxro in its most basic form. And PepperDEX has come out recently on Twitter. And so they're still very new, right? Only 404 followers on Twitter. Community-driven perpetuals and expiring futures decentralized exchange platform. And I've been diving into the docs over the last few days. Obviously very excited about this, not only because I'm a Hxro staker, Solana fan, but also because I, like many of you, am being kicked off of all the best exchanges. I'm running out of places to do what I need to do to make a living. And I'm really hopeful that the world on chain for perps picks up. And I think Solana is the right place for that to happen. And I'm very excited with what Hxro is building. Obviously, I work here now for the last 4 years. And so I've been watching it grow. Now, on chain is the Dexterity protocol. So it's the same liquidity pool. Market makers plug into that, and they're providing liquidity for anyone who wants to plug into the perp trading protocol on Dexterity. It's their own proprietary risk and margining engine. This is not, something they can fork from something like GMX. There's a lot of like EVM compatible type things where you're just borrowing the same code and then repackaging it in that. This is completely original code. So it is a slow build. It's not like move fast and break stuff. Thus far, what we've seen from the devs at Hxro is like a move carefully and build, strong audited code. So I'm excited to see what comes up with PepperDEX. Let's take a look at the docs today. There's a lot in these, so I'm not going to just do like a read through, but some of the more interesting points that I found was in the fee breakdown. And this is going to be a new concept for a lot of people because these are running through Hxro Network. There is a base fee at the Hxro Network level of 2.5 basis points, which means every trade that gets processed through this DEX will have its base fee, and that fee has its own distribution, mostly to Hxro stakers, partially to things like treasury, insurance funds, all those things. You can look that up on the Hxro docs yourself. Now, on top of that base network fee, there is going to be a DEX transaction fee of 2.5 basis points as well. What I found interesting is how they're breaking it down here. So we've got 30% going to PEP staking rewards. So for every dollar of USDC that is collected as a fee, 30 cents will go to the PEP stakers, 20 cents will go to the LP providers, and that's not LPs for the perps, right? That's like PEP USDC and PEP Sol pools that will be presumably sitting on chain on Solana, something like, I don't know, Jupiter or whatever. And then 15 cents of each dollar will go to protocol-owned liquidity. That's another thing we'll get to later in the video, which I really like, which is that there is a clear focus here on having a very liquid market for PEP Token. And they talk about getting those up. Where do they put that in here? It's coming up a little later in the docs. But basically, there's a clear focus on getting the POL up to at least 5 million. So it should be a fairly liquid token sometime within the first however many months it takes to get there. And after that, the docs point out that this 15 cents will get reallocated somewhere else, possibly through a governance vote. My sense is from talking to the team in the Discord is that they are going to move towards the DAO eventually, but not right out the gates. And we know from a lot of projects in the past, when you start a new project, it's not always ideal to just get into a DAO right away because there's, first of all, usually a concentration of tokens in the very early community. So you want to really build the community, grow the community, spread out the tokens, get a lot of activity going, and move fast, right? As a team, you don't want to sit there. There's another project that I've been working with, and they started as a DAO, and to get anything done takes like 3-4 weeks. And sometimes the vote fails, and then you have to revisit it and stuff. So I kind of like their approach here, starting off making whatever decisions they need to make things run smoothly. And they have outlined clear intentions to move this into a DAO formed kind of thing later down the road when it makes sense. So where this 15 cents ends up later on would probably be up to the team or the DAO. We'll see how long it takes to hit that POL level of 5 million. Now, the DAO Treasury is going to collect 20 cents on the dollar, and that will be for things like maintenance margin, insurance, whatever. Well, maintenance, I guess, would be like, hiring people and having mods and whatever else. And then an insurance fund, which is pretty typical for perp type things. So if there is ever any issues with code or whatever other kind of shit can go wrong, there's some money there backing it. 10% for referrals. Now, if there is no referral, the fees paid by unreferred traders will go directly to PEP stakers. So as much as 40% of all the fees are going into PEP stakers' hands. Now, this is interesting. This is a new model made possible by the Hxro Network. The way that they stack 5% or 5 cents on every dollar is going to go to Hxro buyback and stake with max locking period. So this entire DEX is going to act like a black hole for Hxro. And what's cool about that is as the Hxro amount builds in the treasury, the PEP treasury that is, the rewards that they will receive can then be passed along to the PEP stakers as well. So like a growing Hxro bag, max locked, max staked in the PepperDEX Treasury. Really cool design there. And it's this is the flywheel stuff that really gets me excited, because you now have products being built on top of Hxro Network that are acting as like a de facto black hole for Hxro tokens. And the users on that DEX are basically using the platform, sending fees in. And so Hxro stakers are getting kind of rewarded from any activity happening on top. And that goes for some of these other protocols like YOLO Nolo, Flowmatic, which we could do a video on someday, which does advanced order types, which also could be used by PepperDEX. So if you're on PepperDEX and if they end up plugging into Flowmatic's advanced order types and you want to use those, a tiny fee gets taken in by Flowmatic, and then suddenly we've got advanced order types on PepperDEX. All this stuff being designed specifically to the dexterity and spandex margining systems on Hxro Network. So pretty exciting stuff. Getting down into the PEP token, governance utility token, pretty standard. PEP token, right, but not the obligation. So they're using an OPEP model, which reminds me of Bunny, which is one of the DeFi protocols I've been getting into this year. Basically saying instead of just giving you free PEP tokens, like emissions, so to speak, they're actually going to be giving out OPEP, which is an option to buy PEP at a discount. So the simplest way to describe this is, without like just reading it verbatim and letting you figure it out, what my understanding is, I provide liquidity, just say for PEP and USDC. So I have some PEP token, I have some USDC, I throw it in the LP, I stake that LP on their website. Instead of just getting a bunch of PEP, which presumably is like a farm and dump potential, right? Where I'm just farming a bunch of PEP and I'm selling it and I'm like, haha, look at me, I'm making money. But all the while I'm diluting and essentially taking value from the protocol and the token, not really giving anything back. In this case, and this is the second part of this sort of Hxro black hole, to get those rewards that I've earned, I need to buy Hxro or have some and then spend it on the OPEP token to unlock it. So just say I earn $1,000 of OPEP. I then take $500 worth of Hxro. I use it to claim that OPEP. I now have $1,000. So I made $500. I can instantly sell half of that reward and basically have a zero cost basis on a $500 reward. But what happens is all of that Hxro that's used to exercise these OPEP options, again, taken by the PepperDEX Treasury, max locked, max staked. So there's two models or two methods through which this PepperDEX is just going to be soaking up Hxro tokens, max locking and max staking them. Essentially, the more used it gets, the more LP it gets, the more fees, the more all this. Any rewards or emissions they're giving out in the form of OPEP are going to only hit the market if Hxro is taken off the market and put into the PepperDEX Treasury. So that's a really cool new concept. And it sounds like they're putting it in here, I would think, with hopes that other projects building on the Hxro Network do something similar. And then you just get this really nice kind of alignment of interests. So they're really aligning their interests with the Hxro Network by using this OPEP model. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out. The Treasury will stake Hxro to the Hxro Network. Max log max to max. Rewards received from Hxro Network will then be passed on to PEP stakers. So you can see how this thing grows, right? Imagining that the stake weight of the PepperDEX Treasury grows to a certain amount, more dApps, things being built on Hxro Network, more rewards flowing through that staked Hxro. All of that then passed right back to PEP stakers over time. So that's a pretty cool model. We haven't seen that yet. I'm really excited to see how it works out. Now, also when I stake my PEP tokens, I'm going to get VPEP, which is going to allow me to vote and participate in the governance. Like I said, over time, the team has indicated in the Discord that they will be moving into a DAO model. And it's a pretty basic VPEP model. The longer you stake, the more weight you have in your votes, with a decay feature. So over time, near the end of your stake block, your VPEP decays in its voting power, which kind of makes sense. If you have a large vote, and then as you get closer to your unlock date, you obviously are less aligned with the protocol. So you don't want somebody with like a massive stake that's about to unlock tomorrow making some vote on some big thing that they're not necessarily going to need to be aligned with because they're about to unlock. So that kind of decay feature protects against certain, I guess, forms of attack or negative outcomes. There's a stake weight multiplier described here. It's pretty similar to the one used for Hxro Network Hxro staking. I'm not going to get into it in detail here, but basically if you max lock, you get up to 3 times the amount of weight in both your stake. So just say you stake $100 worth for 3 years, you essentially have $300 of stake weight. So you would get triple the rewards, but obviously comes with the risk of being locked for 3 years. And you can apply that somewhere in between as well, similar to Hxro staking. Now, what's really interesting I want to get down to is the PEP distribution. So looking here at the distribution schedule, we've got a tiny little bit given out there for airdrops. There's some marketing stuff, Hxro Treasury. So this is another interesting idea. They've just basically said 2.5% of the supply is going to go straight to the Hxro Treasury. So it's like, hey, Hxro team, we're building on your shit. We like you guys. Take a chunk of our PEP tokens and max lock, max stake. And so that's 2.5% basically gone forever in max lock, max stake. How the Hxro Treasury, what they do with that, I imagine it'll just sit there. I don't foresee them running to sell it, but I don't know. Trading volume incentives. So I imagine there'll be some contests going on early and just in general, trade more, earn more. LP incentives we talked about briefly. That's where you get, if you're providing liquidity for the PEP token, there's going to be OPEP delivered, which you can then unlock by claiming it with Hxro. Core contributors 17.5%. Not really bothered by that number. I find in projects anything under 20% completely comfortable with. I think it starts unlocking for the team after 3 months over a period of 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head. I've read through these like twice over the last few days, so bear with me on perfect memory. POL, nice big chunk put aside for protocol and liquidity. So I'm confident that over the next 6 months, there's going to be plenty of PEP liquidity on chain, which is nice. If you look at Solana right now, the on-chain liquidity is sorely lacking. So if this project comes out and delivers, a few million in fairly constant liquidity, that's going to be really refreshing. And then the DAO Treasury to be used at later dates, as voted upon by DAO members once that's all live. So pretty standard stuff there. And there's light mention of an LBC. So liquidity bootstrapping curve. The team has sort of talked about it coming up in like a few weeks. So I'd keep an eye out for that. There was one comment made that it won't be a surprise. It's not going to be some 48-hour rush the gate kind of thing, which thankfully, because that's how scammers sneak into your DMs and they say, it's live. So the team assured in the Discord the other day that it's not going to be a surprise. It's going to be open for 7 days. And it's probably a few weeks away is the latest I heard. So not too worried about that for now. I'll keep an eye out for it. And basically all of that is going to be used to just bootstrap the liquidity. It's not, it's not like one of these big fancy $40 million open-ended raises. It's just like an auction to bootstrap liquidity and get the tokens into the hands of early supporters and users and presumably stakers. Whatever, I'm probably going to buy some here and want to stake it to get a piece of all the above. I mean, I genuinely want to use this DEX. I'm really hoping that the UI UX is great. I'm confident that I can give feedback and be part of the beta testing. I want to I want this to work. So I'm a little biased in the sense that, optimistic that it will go well and use it, and ideally pay myself fees if I'm staking it as well. So what else we got? We got LP incentives. Yeah, talked about that. Trading volume incentives, all that stuff. And then airdrop. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. Somebody spotted it on Twitter the other day. I retweeted it. So 75% of the initial airdrop will be awarded to Hxro stakers over 12 2-week epochs. So basically 6 months of PEP dropped to Hxro stakers. I did the math on that. It's about 1.4% of the supply. So 1.4 million PEP tokens right out the gates is just going to be given out to Hxro stakers over a period of 6 months, which is pretty cool. As a Hxro staker, I'm excited about that. So I've already got sort of a piece of that airdrop. I'd like to think a lot of those Hxro stakers, obviously they've aligned themselves with the Hxro Network. Like me, I imagine there's a lot of them that are excited about these projects actually launching on the network, prepared to, drive some volume through these perps and all the other protocols. So I'd like to think there's going to be a lot of that airdrop just staked, but obviously we're going to have to find out. I'm going to stake mine. It's free. It's an airdrop, so I'll stick it in there and see how it goes for a couple years. The PEP airdrop allocated for future activations will be quest-based, conducted via Lollipop protocol. Users will need a Solana wallet, blah, blah, blah. So there's already been some hints from the team, I think as recently as yesterday, that there's a new quest coming out. And so they're just in this kind of community growth phase as we, move forward towards whatever LBC they've got planned. Roadmap. Let's take a look. Launching website is up. As you can see here, pretty basic right now. Just Twitter link, Discord link, Docs link. Not a whole lot to look at here, but nice spinning pepper to start. Very basic, very early. Community campaigns, just talked about, they're coming up soon, meme contest, stuff like that. They have talked extensively in the Discord. A lot of people asking about beta testing, when airdrop, when token, blah, blah, blah. So I think that the beta for the exchange sounds like it'll be a few weeks out. But I never want to sit here and hold devs to deadlines. So it'll be when it'll be, but I'm excited to be a part of that and hopefully can earn myself some PEP tokens participating in that as well. Then an open beta, then a final exchange launch, and that's when I imagine all the staking and some rewards, and then I can use it and I can trade there. Excited for that. And then after all that's running, DAO structuring. So phase 2, launch liquidity, PepperDEX full launch, all that stuff. So that's it. That's kind of what we know right now. They've got a Medium, one article out saying welcome to PepperDEX. The Twitter has been fairly active for the first week, just getting into it. You can also watch a little snippet here from Gunny at Hxro talking with Grant from Blockmates the other day. There's some good info there. Diplomatic retweeting bits of that. So there's a lot happening on Hxro Network right now, and I think people with the Solana hype over the last couple months are slowly starting to pay attention and see that Hxro Network really is building this base liquidity layer that dApps can plug into. And PepperDEX is one of them. So this is one I'll be paying close attention to. You'll probably catch me in their Discord, talking shit, posting random pepper art, doing everything I can to earn a piece of the pie before they go live. So that's what I've got so far on PepperDEX. I've been diving into these docs. I strongly recommend, if you're interested, that you do for yourself a full read through of these docs. The team has been fairly responsive to me in the Discord. I don't imagine anyone else would have an issue getting in touch with them. So it's quiet right now, kind of thing. Before the token launch, before the DEX launches, it's a nice quiet time to ask your questions, get in there, and read through this, and let's pick it apart. Let's hold them to the fire a bit, and make sure this is all sussed out as well as it looks at first glance, because I really like what I've seen so far. And naturally, as a Hxro staker and a trader who needs to start trading on chain, this one really caught my attention. Very excited for it. and we'll keep coming with updates over the next couple of months as this develops. So stay tuned to the channel. If you haven't already, like and subscribe and share the video with your peeps. And I'll see you in the Discord in the pit or over in the PepperDEX Discord, which I joined last week. Until next time, guys, whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. Take care.